much as a warning. Life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. From the safety of your living room, you have a grandstand view of some extraordinary scenes of destruction. There's a horrifying racetrack collision that ends in an explosive high-speed pileup. And 3 lakeside homes are completely washed away by devastating floodwaters. No situation is without risk, no outcome predictable when things are destroyed in seconds. Des Moines, Iowa.
911. We got a fire. Big fire.
No, great.
Stuff's blowing bad, man.
When firefighters arrive at the Barton Solvents facility, they find one of the plant's buildings fully engulfed in flames. Crews attempt to approach the inferno, but are kept back by one earth-shaking eruption after another. All they can do is set up unmanned fire hoses around the perimeter and attempt to douse the flames. Each fireball represents a 55-gallon drum of the highly flammable solvent ethyl acetate as it explodes due to heat and pressure. The blast sends some of the drums hurtling hundreds of feet through the air. One almost hits a row of chemical storage tanks. Another lands close to firefighters. Fearing that several nearby train tanker cars might also ignite, officials evacuate the area and shut down 2 major highways. The smoke and fireballs are visible for miles around, including a series of massive smoke rings created by smoke being blown through a hole in the roof of the flaming building. It takes over 100 firefighters more than 4 hours to bring the blaze under control. One worker sustains minor injuries, and a firefighter has to be treated for smoke inhalation. The company loses its chemical transfer area, a warehouse, and its business offices. Investigators determined the fire started when ethyl acetate fumes were ignited by static electricity, setting off a chain reaction. An aircraft carrier during flight operations is one of the most dangerous workplaces in the world. Pilots punch their engines as jets are catapulted off the deck at incredible velocities. When landing, the planes have to go from 150 miles per hour to 0 in a distance of 320 feet. Navy crewmen undergo extensive training in order to safely work in such a demanding environment, but accidents still happen. Here, a helmet is sucked right off the head of a sailor by the jet engine intake of an A-6E intruder. On board the USS Theodore Roosevelt on assignment in the Persian Gulf. 20-year-old naval aviation engineer J.D. Bridges is training a new recruit when he makes a critical error. One of the primary aircraft carrier safety rules is to always kneel during the inspection of a jet's launching mechanism. As Bridges moves forward to inspect the A-6E's nose gear, he stands, exposing himself to the immense sucking power of the engine's intake turbine. The flames shooting out of the back are caused by the impact of his helmet and float coat hitting the engine's spinning turbine. After 3 minutes inside the engine, Bridges manages to shimmy back out. Two factors may have contributed to saving the young man's life. Inside the engine, Bridges' body becomes wedged against the bullet-shaped fan hub. This prevents him from hitting the spinning blades on the engine's turbine. The helmet and coat torn from Bridges' body sets off the jet's foreign object alarm. The fast-acting pilot immediately cuts power to the engines. In addition to multiple lacerations, Bridges suffers a fractured collarbone and a punctured eardrum. He makes a total recovery. After completing his service, Bridges ends his military career with an honorable discharge. Maryland International Speedway. Thousands of fans line the tracks to watch pro-modified dragsters compete in the American Drag Racing League Championships. These supercharged dragsters are capable of cranking out more than 2,400 horsepower. That translates to nearly 200 miles per hour. At these speeds, drivers have only fractions of a second to correct any mistakes. Behind the wheel of the 1968 Chevy Camaro replica is two-time champion Tommy Franklin. Tommy is about to take a run down the track. It's his first race of the day. It'll also be his last. Just seconds into the race, Tommy loses control. His $200,000 dragster slams into the concrete barrier. The parachute deploys and wraps around the frame. At 140 miles per hour, the Camaro drifts to the right. Tommy tries to correct, but experiences a loss of traction. The accident is the result of the car leaving the groove, the sweet spot down the middle of the track where traction is best. Rescuers come running to the mangled car. Before the dragster can catch fire, safety crews rush to the back and shut off the engine. After several minutes trapped in the wreck, Tommy emerges uninjured. Although the car is badly damaged, Tommy and his crew salvage what they can so they can build a new car and race another day. For people in the upper Midwest, Lake Delton, Wisconsin is a popular destination for fun and thrills in the water. But in June 2008, water is the last thing Lake Delton needs. After torrential storms dump more than a foot of rain in the area, the dam at Lake Delton is overwhelmed. Water gushes through the dam's overflow and cuts through a narrow strip of land that separates Lake Delton from the Wisconsin River. Now, the lake is emptying directly into the river. As the lake drains, its raging waters wash away tons of soil, bringing down trees one by one.
That's it. Lake Delton, that's done. It is getting more intense.
It places every waterfront home near this new spillway in danger. Two neighboring houses that used to be a safe distance from the lake are now on the water's edge. One at a time, the churning current starts claiming victims. Pieces of the foundation keep sliding away from one of the homes, leading to its collapse. Just minutes later, the house next door also ends up in pieces. Just down the street, the Fromm family built their dream home on the shores of Lake Delton. Now, The surging channel is washing away the very piece of land the house was built on. Workers make an attempt to save the house by bulldozing fill dirt around it. As they do, the home next door slides off what's left of its foundation in one single piece. The workers give up, and the only tree still standing in the yard goes down. Finally, the last bit of soil supporting the house caves in.
There goes that big one. Wow.
The Fromm's dream home, as well as roughly 99% of their property, is gone.
Oh, man.
When the skies finally clear and the flooding subsides, what used to be a lake is now a 267-acre mud hole. The lakeside water show that once drew thousands of people is landlocked. In all, 5 houses are washed away when Lake Delton cuts a new path to the Wisconsin River. The cost of the homes, $2.3 million.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. There goes that big one. Wow.
The British F1 Grand Prix at Nottingham, England is a crucial round in the Formula One Racing World Series. Waters are calm today as 13 racers push their 350 horsepower F1s up to speeds of 140 miles an hour. At high speeds, the slightest interference from a competitor can have drastic consequences, as racer John Jones is about to find out. It's the Formula One Racing World Series in Nottingham, England. The fastest racers in the world are here today, looking to strip the championship title from Welshman John Jones. All boats head down the starting straightaway, approaching the first 180-degree turn. Jones begins to move up between the 2 racers flanking him. At the start of the race, the 2 racers on either side of Jones stray off course and converge on him. Jones pulls back to avoid a collision. F1s travel on a thin layer of air. The 2 converging F1s spray water under Jones's boat. The altered aerodynamics causes him to flip. Jones's boat bobs upside down in the water, and he's nowhere to be seen. Rescuers extract the unconscious Jones from the cockpit. He's transferred from rescue boat to ambulance. Jones's wife fears the worst as her husband is rushed to the hospital. Jones has an unexpectedly swift recovery and is back at the race course later that day. Uninjured, but angry.
We were warned in the driver's briefing to keep your distance. Everybody just closed in, either side of me. I had nowhere to go, they came in on me, and
Jones is back on the water in the very next Grand Prix. He wins 3 more World Series titles, becoming one of the most decorated drivers in the history of F1 racing. It's fair time in Cayuga County, New York, which means it's time for the annual Mod Light car race. Mod Lights are powered by motorcycle engines. They can hit speeds of up to 80 miles an hour.
The 24th and the 18 of Profiter.
On lap 4 of this qualifying race, driver Don Finner tries to pass a competitor, but his back end hits the wall in the process. Triggering an instant pileup.
Into the wall first. Running from speed control, very nice. All over the neck. I hear it snap from the tail, one over your mate. I hear it snap from the tail, one over your mate.
The car bounces off the wall and starts sliding sideways. It hits a bump and rolls. Finner gets hit by driver Rocco Leone. Then, two other cars become part of the crash. Track safety workers roll Leone's car upright, and it looks like everything's okay, until...
Right now is to the driver of the number 28 down the center. And let go, fire! And the driver is out. Things about these cars.
One of the cars is leaking gasoline, and it comes in contact with overheated engine parts.
Of the number 28 down.
When it ignites, Leone is still strapped inside his roll cage. He manages to pull himself out of the burning vehicle.
The driver is out.
Leone tries to extinguish his flaming glove, but it won't go out. He's finally able to remove it, and he walks away uninjured. Now, the bigger question concerns driver Don Finner, whose close call triggered the pileup.
Came there immediately.
Once the smoke clears and medics pull Finner from his car, they go to work on it.
Well, Joe, Don Finner is out of the car.
After several minutes, Finner is on his feet. He suffers bruises and scrapes, but is otherwise okay.
The driver is up there, walking away under his own power.
As a result of this crash, Leone is unable to return to the track until the next racing season. Finner recovers, but never races again.
Then fire, and the driver is out.
Keystone, Colorado. Snowmobilers gun their machines to 80 miles per hour and leap over a span of 80 feet for a professional photo shoot. But earlier in the day, this gap was 20 feet wider. Experienced rider Brian Hennick feels confident he can get his snowmobile up to 80 miles per hour and make it across the 100-foot span. But something in his calculations is off. In Keystone, Colorado, snowmobilers leap over an 80-foot chasm. But experienced rider Brian Hennick thinks he can clear a distance of 100 feet. Brian guns it into the ramp. Brian needs to hit the ramp at 80 miles per hour, but he only reaches 65 miles per hour. Without enough speed, he slams into the snow mound. Ski patrol and bystanders rush to his aid. Although Brian is able to sit up, he's in serious pain.
Be real careful, almost. Go ahead and pop the backboard out, man.
An awaiting snowcat takes Brian off the mountain for medical care. Although Brian survives this high-speed crash, he suffers a broken vertebrae, 2 broken ankles, 2 torn ligaments, and crushed left heel. Brian recovers from this accident with some lingering heel pain. However, his snowmobile is an $8,000 loss. After seeing Evel Knievel on TV, 8-year-old Bubba Blackwell knew he wanted to leap into the world of stunt riding.
Or daredeviling.
Bubba goes on to become one of America's best-known daredevils. In 1995, Bubba is just starting to make a name for himself. He's in Portland, Oregon to perform a 90-foot jump on his 400-pound Harley-Davidson XR 750. Bubba hopes to clear 13 cars.
Bubba has a little philosophy in life. He says every man dies, but not every man lives.
Bubba has never attempted to clear this many cars. His inexperience may be his undoing.
Bubba, heading it down, ladies and gentlemen, here he goes! And he does it! Oh my God!
Bubba has only 200 feet of lead up to the ramp. The short distance doesn't give him enough room to get up to speed. He needs to hit the ramp at 70 miles per hour to clear the 90-foot gap. But he only reaches 65. Bubba comes up short of the blue landing ramp. He flies over the handlebars. The 400-pound bike bounces off his body. Rescue crews rush to Bubba's side.
And a fairly bad fall for Bubba Blackwell.
Bubba suffers 2 broken ribs, a broken collarbone, a shattered scapula, and a punctured lung. Bubba fully recovers and goes on to break nearly every record originally set by his hero, Evel Knievel.
Oh, here he goes! And he does it! Oh my God!
1953. 65 miles from Las Vegas, Nevada, the Atomic Energy Commission and the Department of Defense are conducting Operation Upshot Knothole. The goal is to study effects of nuclear explosions and radiation on everyday objects like cars, houses, and airplanes. In one test, vehicles are placed inside the Nevada test site for the experiment. The 16-kiloton nuclear bomb obliterates scores of automobiles. The vehicles nearest to ground zero are completely destroyed. The ones at a greater distance sustain less damage. In another test, 3 one-room houses are constructed to simulate a typical neighborhood. One house has fresh paint and a clean yard. The second is unpainted and has a yard filled with refuse. The third has dry rot inside the framing. The blast wave engulfs the 3 structures. 2 of the homes are completely razed. But the freshly painted home survives the explosion. Based on this experiment, scientists conclude a low-yield nuclear detonation within a city could cause 100,000 house fires. I'm Ron Pitts. Thanks for watching Destroyed in Seconds.